Good day everyone. I am Punitavarssheny Selvanathan, Year 1 medical student. Today I am going to talk about ophthalmology. First and foremost, what is ophthalmology? Ophthalmology is a branch of medical science dealing with the structure, functions and disease of the eye. So now let's move on to the first part of my presentation, which is anatomy of eye. First is cornea. This protects the inside of your eye like a windshield. Your tear fluid lubricates your corneas. The corneas also do part of the work bending light as it enters your eyes. Second is conjunctiva. This clear thin layer covers the sclera and lines the inside of your eyelids. Third is sclera. This is the white part of your eye that forms the general shape and structure of your eyeball. Next is iris. This part contains the muscles that control the size of your pupil. It's also responsible for eye color. Next is pupil. This is the black circle inside the iris. It widens and narrows to control how much light enters your eye. In the next slide, I will explain further about the function of pupil. Next is lens. This acts like a camera lens by focusing light onto the retina at the back of the eye. Retina, this thin layer of light-sensitive cells at the back of your eyes, converts light into electrical signals. It contains rods which help you see in low lights and cones which help you see colors. Lastly, optic nerve. This connects your retinas to your brain. It's like the data cable that carries signals from your eyes with connection points linking to multiple brain areas. Now I'm going to explain the main function of pupil in our eyes, the pupil reflex. The muscle involved in this action is antagonistic muscle. Let's see what will happen to pupil in dim light and bright light. When light levels are low, the pupil reflex acts to dilate the pupil and maximize the light entering the eye. How does this happen? First, light receptors in the eye detect low light levels. The radial muscles contract and the scapular muscles relax. As the result, the pupil dilates. Let's see what will happen to pupil in bright light. When light levels are high, the pupil reflex acts to constrict the pupil to reduce light entering the eye and protect the retina. How does this happen? Same as dim light, the light receptors in the eye detect bright light, the radial muscles relax and the scapular muscles contract. The pupil constricts. Now let's move on to the next part of my presentation, which is physiology. Today I am going to explain the tear secretion. Tear film can be divided into three different layers. First, the outer layer, which is known as lipid layer, keeps tears from drying up too quickly and makes the surface of the eyes smooth. Second, the middle layer is known as aqueous layer. The watery middle layer keeps the eyes wet and nourishes the eye tissue. The inner layer, which is known as mucin layer, the inner mucous layer, helps the tear film stick to the surface of the eyes. How tears secreted? Tears are produced in the lacrimal gland. This is located above the eyeball. The tears drain through the upper and lower puncta into the canaliculi and then into the lacrimal sac and nasolacrimal duct. Most of the people don't know tear carrying a lot of function to our eyes. First, basal tears. Basal tears are responsible for keeping your eyes lubricated. Your eyes constantly release small quantities of them to nourish and protect your corneas. Next is reflex tears. Physical triggers cause reflex tears to form. They help wash away harmful irritants like dust, smoke, or onion fumes. Reflex tears contain antibodies to help fight bacteria. Third is emotional tears. Strong emotions like sadness, joy, or grief cause your body to produce emotional tears. Now let's move on to the next part of my presentation, which is related to biochemistry. Now I'm going to explain the biochemical components in our eyes. First, photopigments, and second, chromophore. What is photopigments? These substances undergo chemical changes when activated by light. Chromophore undergoes cyclic regeneration for each absorbed photon. Where these both components involved? First is in light absorption. When a photon of light is absorbed by the chromophore, it causes the photopigment molecule to change shape. Next step is neural signal. This change triggers a chemical cascade that ultimately generates a neural signal which the brain interprets as vision. Next is color detection. In the cones, 3 different types of photopigments are sensitive to different wavelengths of light such as red, green and blue. The combination of the signals from these 3 types allows the brain to perceive a full spectrum of color. There are few types of photoreceptors and photopigments. First is rods. These are highly sensitive to low light levels and are responsible for black and white and night vision. Second is cones. These are responsible for color vision and function best in bright light. Now let's move on to the next part of my presentation. Now I am going to explain one of the common diseases related to eye, which is cataract. Cataract is clouding of the eye's natural lens causing blurred vision. What are the reasons causes this disease? Most cataracts develop when aging or injury changes the tissue that makes up the eye's lens. Proteins and fibers in the lens begin to break down. This causes vision to become hazy or cloudy. What are the symptoms of this disease? As I mentioned before, clouded, blurred or dim vision, trouble seeing at night, sensitivity to light and glare, and need for brighter light for reading and other activities. There are several types of cataract disease. First is nuclear cataracts, which is affecting the central lens. Second, cortical cataracts, which affect the edges of the lens. Posterior subcapsular cataracts affect the back of the lens. Congenital cataracts, a clouding of the eye's lens present at birth, and some other types as well. How the cataract disease diagnosis? First, vision test, high structure exam and also retinal exam. What are the treatment provided for this cataract disease? Is cataract surgery, which is known as phacoemulsification. This surgery involves removing the clouded lens and replacing it with a clear artificial lens. The artificial lens, called as intraocular lens, is put in the same place as your natural lens. It remains a permanent part of your eye. For some people, artificial lenses can't be used. In these situations, once the cataract is removed, vision may be corrected with eyeglasses or contact lenses. Okay, now I am going to explain the steps of this cataract surgery. First is small incision. The surgeon makes a very small incision around 2 to 3 mm at the edge of the cornea. Second step is capsulorhexis. An opening is made in the lens capsule, the membrane holding the lens. Next step is emulsification. A thin ultrasonic probe is inserted using vibration to emulsify the cataracts into small pieces. Next is aspiration. The fragments are then suctioned out through the same probe. Last step is IOL insertion. A folded artificial intraocular lens, IOL, is inserted through the small incision and unfolds within the capsule. So these are the steps involved in this cataract surgery. Now, what are the advanced technology used in ophthalmology field? First is advanced imaging. optical coherence tomography, non-invasive high-resolution scans for detailed retinal layers even in home settings. The picture that I included in this slide is showing optical coherence tomography. Second, adaptive optics corrects distortions for microscopic retinal views like a super microscope. Next is 3D imaging and tomography provides comprehensive views of the eye's front anterior segments for surgical planning. Next is surgical and treatment innovations, smart lasers and robotics for safer, more precise surgeries including minimally invasive glaucoma procedures. Implantable drug delivery, devices that release medication over months, reducing frequent injection. The example is for macular degeneration. Lastly, gene editing, potential to correct genetic causes of blindness. Example is inherited retinal diseases. So these are some examples of advanced technology used in ophthalmology field. These technologies brings a lot of benefits to ophthalmologists where these technologies make ophthalmologists works more easier and safer. Now let's move on to the last part of my presentation. I'm going to introduce one of the specialists in this ophthalmology field, which also an inspiration for me to choose ophthalmology. Dr. Keenum. He is an expert in oculoplastics, a specialized area of ophthalmology that focuses on the eyelids and the structures surrounding the eye, including problems of the lacrimal tear system and the orbit, the region surrounding the eyeball. I normally watch his YouTube videos related to eye surgeries in his YouTube channel, Dr. Eyeball MD. These are the references I used to complete my assignment. That's all from me. Thank you.